Good afternoon guys, welcome back to the channel. My name's Matt and I don't have Becky with me today.
Hello darkness, my old friend.
She's still at work, so I owe you a bit of an apology. Things have been a little bit quiet here at Regular Runner HQ. I've not recorded a video for a couple of weeks, and the reason for that honestly is real life. I'm all about keeping it real here on the channel, and ever since the Aintree 10k, just things have been busy. I've still been running, still been training. Becky is still doing as much as she is able to. But the reality is, I work for a living. This is a hobby for me, making videos and running. And obviously training, for people like us, runners, we train multiple times a week. We might spend 4, 5, 6, some 10 hours a week in some cases training, and then finding time to edit, record videos, think of things to say in videos has just quickly disappeared this summer. And then to add on to that, and I have to be on call every couple of weeks, and that means that my runs have had to stay local to home, and to get training sessions done local to home, where I live in Bury, is not a particularly flat area. There's not a lot of flat places where I can go to train and to do my sessions. And as I've hinted at on a post on the channel recently, I took up javelin. I've also taken up discus as well to represent the club in the local athletics league. Now, the throws has been going very well. I've only been doing it for a couple of months, but I've been progressing and making, decent improvements in my throws, and I've been scoring points for the club in the league, and it's ultimately culminated in me being part of the team that won our division in the league. Stick a picture up here. And will be promoted into the Northern League West Premier Division for next season. But the throws practice clashes with the track sessions down at the club. So what I've been doing is I've been taking the track sessions that are scheduled, and then I've been going down to a local loop, which I'm heading down to right now. I've been running my sessions solo and then heading down to the club for throws practice, which means that I've not really had an awful lot of interesting stuff to film for you guys. I want to produce content that I would like to watch, and something that you guys probably don't want to see is me running around in a square on the same 4 roads over and over and over again. In fact, I'll put a screenshot up on the screen now of my Strava segment tally for the local loop where I've been doing my training. I'm actually 3rd on the Strava segment leaderboard for a number of laps. I know the 2 guys who are ahead of me, and they've both absolutely smashed me, to be honest. But yeah, I think I've done somewhere in the region of 70 laps of that loop in the last couple of months. It's a 650 metre loop. You've seen me train on there before. I have recorded sessions there on the channel. And yeah, I've just not felt like that's been particularly interesting content to record. I've missed a couple of park runs because I've been competing in the athletics league. We volunteered at one park run because we were going to be running at Aintree the next day. And the other park runs that we've done have been at Heaton Park, which you can see loads of videos of Heaton Park on the channel. So I'm heading down to the loop today to go and do my run. Today's session is quite a straightforward one. I've got to do a 10-minute warm-up, and then it's 10 watts of 30 seconds on, 90 seconds off, with the efforts aiming for around 5k pace. So it's not a super intensive session, but it is more of a tune-up session ready for the weekend, because Becky and I will be meeting up with a few of our friends and we will be running in the Blackpool Run the Lights 10k with Fylde Coast Runners on Saturday this week. So I'm going to try and get this video up before the end of this week. It's currently Thursday. I'm going to try and get it up tomorrow. So keep an eye out. There will be a few links going up on the channel as the videos go up, but there will be a few other people from the YouTube running space at the race that day, and we're going to meet up with them. We're all going to have a little bit of something to eat a few hours before the race, and then we're going to run the race. So my plan in Blackpool is going to be to trial pacing a 60-minute 10k. The reason for that is I am going to be one of the official pacers at the Bury 10k this year. I will be pacing 60 minutes unless anything changes, but hopefully I'll be on 60 minutes. I'm really looking forward to it. The Bury 10k is the first race that I ever ran a sub 60 10k, and I did so by accident. I wasn't planning it. It was a few years ago now. Me and Becky, at the time we ran all of our runs together, we ran the same pace. And we'd run quite a hard park run the day before. We had no intention of going hard in the Bury 10k. We always intended on taking it easy. We wanted to enjoy the run. It's our local race and we wanted to make the most of it. But also we were going to be running the Yorkshire 10-mile race 2 weeks later, and that was kind of a goal race for us because it was the next step up in distance that we were doing at the time. It was exactly 6 months between our first 10k and our first half marathon. So yeah, we turned up to the Bury 10k intending on taking it easy. We paced ourselves, we ran a steady effort in the first half, but the Bury 10k is uphill for the first half and then downhill for the second half. I think there's about 90 meters of elevation in the first half of the race, but then you go back down that same 90 meters over the course of the second half of the race. And yeah, as we got just almost to the very bottom of the hill in the second half of the race, we were about 1k from the end, and we caught the 60-minute pacer up. We didn't just catch him up, we caught them up and then gained another minute and a half on them over the course of the last 1k to 1.5k. I did not expect to do that, and by that point I was struggling as well. There is one hill right near the end. The road is called Castlecroft Road. That's not a really big hill, but it's short and sharp, and it's just enough to take the momentum out of your stride when you're at the key point of your race, which is 500 meters from the end of the race, and you just lose all your momentum on Castlecroft Road right before you go onto the run-in for the final run home into the finish. We passed that 60-minute pacer, and then I ended up walking up part of Castlecroft Road because the hill had just caught me out, and I didn't think that I was going to stay ahead of the 60-minute pacer, but somehow did. And not only that, I was a minute and a half ahead of him by the time we got to the end. Completely unexpected result, and I don't think anybody would reasonably expect the first sub 60 10k to happen on a course where the first half of the course is entirely uphill. I never saw it coming that day, and even to this day I'm still surprised that we managed it. Yeah, the course has a special place in our running journey because it represented quite a big landmark in our minds of what we were capable of. I am doing some practicing. I'm going to practice at Blackpool, and we're going to aim to try and pace for as close to 60 minutes at the Blackpool race as possible. I'm hoping that the course distance is accurate because it will make it really hard to gauge that otherwise. But for the time being, I've got to look to today. I'm going to go and get this session done. I want to have a bit of a chat with you during the warm-up about something else that is on my mind at the moment. We're going to go and get this session done, and then we're going to get down to the club for discus and javelin practice. My competition season is basically over now. I can't make any more athletics meets this year, just because of other commitments. So now into focusing on improving my technique, in the hope that next year we can score some good points in the Northern League's West Premier Division. I'll speak to you when we get down to the loops. I'm going to have a chat to you on the warm-up, and then we're going to get into this session. Right, so I'm just jogging down to the loops now, doing my warm-up. So I'm doing a 10-minute warm-up, and like I say, I've got 10 sets of 30 seconds on, 90 seconds off. So I'm trying to keep the pace nice and light on this warm-up, although I have to say it's quite warm weather today, which makes it a little bit harder. Does make my heart rate jump up. So I'll take you for a quick run around the loop so you can see the loop that I've been running around for the last 10 weeks. I've been doing my training sessions, and what I do, I have a bit of a chat to you about something that's been on my mind recently, and that is creatine supplementation. So as many of you will know, Becky was diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome recently. She's been learning how to deal with that, and I was doing some research into possible treatments for the effects of chronic fatigue syndrome, and came across a study where the NHS is investigating the use of creatine supplementation at a low level to help with the effects of long COVID. We're on the Cop Shop loop now, so this is where I've been running my training sessions. So yeah, creatine supplementation for long COVID sufferers. Now, there's very little evidence to say that long COVID and chronic fatigue are related directly in any way, but the symptoms are undeniably very similar. And I've been considering trying creatine as a sports supplement anyway. And so we thought, well, what's the harm in it? Creatine is one of the most widely investigated supplements in sport. It's used extensively, particularly in things like powerlifting. It's considered to be safe. There are very few side effects. It's something that exists in the body naturally anyway. And so we decided to give it a try. So for the last 2 weeks, both me and Becky have been taking creatine supplements. Not to an extreme level. I'm taking 5 grams a day. Becky's taking 2.5 grams a day. And we're doing that by mixing it in with some cordial or fruit juice and electrolytes, and then we sip it over the course of a few hours, which also helps to offset the possibility of digestive issues that can crop up with creatine supplementation. Now, so far, I've not seen any negative side effects. But it's also fair to say I've not seen any positives as yet. I think any real gains that might be made would be noticed long term. This is just an experiment, really. It's considered safe. It's relatively cheap. And it's something that I can quite easily fit into my routine because I already mix electrolytes with cordial because I drink several litres a day anyway. So it's something that's quite easy to build into a nice healthy habit. So that's the end of the Cop Shop loop. I started this little clip just around that corner there. And that's where I've been running my sessions. It's about 650 metres for a loop. And yeah, I think I did 12 laps of this the other day doing a session. So that's why I've been pretty quiet on the channel recently, because when I'm on call and I need to stay local, I park the car up nearby and I just come and do laps of this. So I'm going to call that the end of my warm-up. I've just done 9 minutes. I'm going to do some quick stretches and then I'll get this session done. But let me know down in the comments, have you had any experience with creatine? Positive or negative, I'd like to know, because this interests me, particularly since we're using it in the hope that it would help to alleviate some of Becky's symptoms of CFS. So please do let me know down in the comments if you have any experience with creatine. Was it good? Was it bad? Did it help you? Did it hold you back? And other than that, I hope you appreciate this little update, and I hope you understand why I've not been around quite so much on the YouTube platform this last few weeks. Unfortunately, life just hasn't helped, but I've got a couple of things coming up for you in the near future. We've got Run the Lights 10k, that's in 2 days time. Got Mid Cheshire 5k, that's coming up in 2 weeks. And after that, Bury 10k is at the start of September, and then I'll be into half marathon training, ready for Manchester Half Marathon in October. And that will probably be the grand total of this year's races. I've tried to keep the number of races down this year. Last year I was definitely guilty of racing too much, and it didn't help. I was never really focusing on any distance. My goal this year was to start on shorter stuff at the beginning of the year and gradually increase the distance towards the end of the year. I think it's gone really well. I've hit PBs in 1k, 5k, mile, 10k, hopefully half marathon before the end of the year. And then, yeah, I've got plans brewing in the background for next year. Don't really want to announce it on the channel just yet, because the plans are still brewing. But hopefully I'll be able to bring news of that for you soon. And it could be a complete change of tack on this channel, at least for the first half of next year. Okay guys, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for your patience. I really appreciate all the support. We reached 200 subscribers not very long ago at all. And since then we're actually up to 250 subscribers as of today, which is amazing. The channel is going from strength to strength, and hopefully you understand that this little quiet period is not permanent. It's through no fault of our own, no fault of YouTube. We'd still want to upload content and get videos out to you guys. It's just, I want to make sure it's interesting content. You don't want to see me running around this circle all the time, do you? I mean, if you do, let me know and maybe I'll record some, but Thanks very much for your time, guys. Appreciate all the support. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.